no problem. You say no. Can you all type? We have about 17 participants, so let's see. Okay, I got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got 10 replies. Others? Other 7 people? Okay. 11.
Prabhu, mine is received, Prabhu.
Yeah. Balaji Gauradas, now last Mahalakshmi. 12, Bhanu Mataji. Others? Join today only, will come to know. So, okay. 13. 4 more from the attendance. Okay, now we have 18, so 6 more. All of you, please
Prabhu,
respond.
what is the question, Prabhu? Sorry, I joined.
Are you reading the purports after the class is over?
Thank you.
You have to respond. You have to say yes or no. Okay, so now let's look at the number of no's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Out of 17, out of 14, 9 no's. So that means only 5 people are reading. So why are you not reading? If you don't read, how will you remember? If you don't read, see, I'm not explaining every line of the purport, right? But Prabhupada has so enriched explanations. You have to read the purports. If you don't read the purports, then how are you going to become strong in your devotion? You cannot become strong in your devotion. You will think that, okay, class attended over, story over. How are you going to graduate or move from your second standard to third standard and higher standards? Are you going to remain in first standard and second standard only? There is a plan, and it is important for people to align to the plan. Now, if you don't align to the plan, then why attend this class? It's a waste of time for me and waste of time for you. So I want to produce seriously practicing devotees. So if you want to be serious in devotional life, you want to connect here, so practice according to the plan. If you do not practice according to the plan, then what's the use? So what do you all say?
Prabhu, yes, Prabhu, I'm not able to do it in the chat. So sorry, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu, I'm reading.
You're reading. Okay, good. So here is my humble request that in the next class, Saturday morning, when I take a poll, I want 100% people saying yes, that I'm reading the purport after the class. It is important to connect with Srila Prabhupada's purports. If you don't, then you will not understand every aspect of it. Just see my screen. How much of highlights I'm doing. Different highlights. Different highlight means different levels of importance. Okay. And also hierarchy. One has to be read in hierarchy to the other. So now if I have to highlight this, that means I should have read this, then I should have internalized in my heart, then I should feel, okay, these are the great important points Prabhupada is saying. That means it takes time to introspect what Prabhupada is saying after reading. So look at the time spent here. Can you understand the time spent here? So students who are attending should outsmart the teacher. That should be your goal. Your goal is not that, okay, teacher came and told these things, okay, I'm done, that's it. Next week we will see. No, you're never going to go up to the higher levels of standards. You will be remaining the same, not today, even after many classes, after many years. Today we have this problem in ISKCON. You see a devotee, he'll claim he's 10 years in ISKCON, 15 years in ISKCON, 20 years in ISKCON, but no progress. Our progress is very, very slow, very little. You can see from his behavior, his ability to tolerate, his ability to put forward things, very weak. That weakness will also show in his devotional practice. He cannot do it. Now, what is one measure of how our devotion is actually growing? The lesser the influence of Maya on your day-to-day life is actually a sign of your progress of devotion. If your material activities keep on, do not disturb you much, and allow you to practice more and more devotion, is a sign of progress in devotion service. If material tribulations are increasing day by day, is giving you more difficulty, it very clearly tells that the shelter of the Lord has not reached one. So, you have to grow up in your spiritual life. You have to reach higher levels. And one of it, apart from whatever you're doing in Shravanam, Kirtanam, and various aspects, one of it is you have to read the purports. While reading the purports, you can also do practice of slokas. Oh, this sloka is important. It was said in the class. So let me practice, remember. So, practice of devotion service must be dedicated. Now, is it not true in the material life? People write NEET exams. You know how much of dedication, time they give, and still they're uncertain whether they'll get the seat or not. Even your engineering exams, Comet K, whatever exams they have. Even your IPS exam. You have to work so much. Auditing exams. You want to become chartered accountant. How much you have to prepare? And still you don't know. So why do you think spiritual life is not so? Spiritual life, you have to give greater importance and then practice. I don't want to keep covering chapters after chapter while devotees are not keeping in pace with me. I am teaching actually Bhakti Vaibhav standards. This is the highest level explained even in Bhakti Vaibhav. There is no explanation beyond this. Unless you have to go research with other devotees and then learn more. So, become serious in whatever you're doing. Please read the purports. Then and there, write down what are all the slokas have been taught. You have 1 week time. It's not that every day we're doing this. You have 1 week time. In a week, allocate time, practice the slokas, read the purports, and introspect on what Prabhupada is saying. Oh, like this, like that. This is what it is. So I have to change. And then look at the mirror. After introspection, when you look at the mirror, what the mirror teaches you. Hey, these are all my mistakes that I'm doing. I should change. I'll course correct here. I'll change here and move forward. That is when you will progress in your devotion life. Otherwise, as I told you, 20 years in ISKCON, Prabhuji, what's the use? You should not become like that. Please take it seriously. Thank you.
Prabhu, today we have to do 15 now, Prabhu. 9.15.
Yeah. Some slokas are, see, 1 or 2 slokas means the same.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that we will,
Yes,
we
yes.
will be.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, so let's begin with the chapter 16 now. Okay, reading from Canto 1, chapter 9, text 16. So now what has happened? We established the position of Bhishma Dev. What is the position of Bhishma Dev? We all know that he is Mahajan. More importantly, when Bhishma Dev was about to leave his body, Yudhishthira Maharaj developed what is called as an insatisfied situation, a situation of guilt, a situation that he could not comprehend himself. So what happened in that situation? Krishna, we saw that Krishna spoke in a dual nature. One, and as a Paramatma, he produced that difficulty that no, you are not in a position to be satisfied with whatever the situation is. On the other hand, Krishna is actually speaking, yeah, you're good, you're Yudhishthira, you're Dharmaraja, you're fine, you're ready to rule the world, etc. So that situation led Krishna instructing Yudhishthira that you should go here. All kinds of dharmas, Bhagavad Dharma, every kinds of dharma, from Sri Dharma, all dharmas, Dana Dharma, everything from Bhishma Dev. He wanted that arrangement. What's the purpose of that arrangement? One, Bhishma Dev took the role of opposition not because he desired, because Lord wanted him to play that role. Okay, so we'll see that in the chapter, Sloka 16. So he is playing that role as per the desire of the Lord, plan of the Lord. Pure devotion means working under the plan of the Lord, irrespective of one situation. Jaya and Vijaya, great devotees of the Lord, they agree to the plan of the Lord to fight against him, will look like villains. But they are great devotees of the Lord. Right? So that is important to understand. So Bhishma Dev played this role. And hence, Lord wanted to glorify Bhishma Dev to the whole world. He instructed Yudhishthira that you should hear from Bhishma Pitamaha. Now, when Yudhishthira and Krishna, along with the Pandavas, they started to go to the war field to see Bhishma Dev, many great personalities. We read the laundry list of personalities. Devotees, so many of them, they moved along with Krishna and the Pandavas to pay the rights to Bhishma Dev. So this clearly establishes the glory of Bhishma Dev. If Bhishma Dev was an ordinary person, or he is considered as a villain that he was playing for a role in the opposite side, no one would care for him. Did Duryodhana left his body? Is there any recording in any scriptures that anyone went to see his departure? No. Actually, Duryodhana did not leave his body just like that. He suffered for quite some time before he left his body. Suffered with pain, blood coming out of his body. Not even one insect was there next to him. So you see, great devotees, when they depart their body, so many people would come and pay their respects to them. And this was an example to show that Bhishma Dev was a great devotee. No wonder he was a Mahajan. Okay? Bhishma Dev, when he saw the Pandavas, his immediate happiness was, he said, Aho Anyayam, what a great misery, what great misfortune has been awarded unto you for what? No reason of yours. You all suffered so much. So many tribulations that you went through. Now, Bhishma Dev is saying, it is very happy to see that the rightful position, the virtuous king, Dharmaraja, who is epitome of Dharma, is going to sit on the throne and rule this world in the proper manner. And that's what is the desire of the Lord. Because Lord says, Yada yada hi dharmasya, dharmam tu shakshat bhagavat pranitam. So, the same is resonating in the heart of the devotees. And he's very happy to see that. In continuation of that, he talked about Kala. He talked about time. Now he's talking about the next aspect. Let us see what is he saying. He's talking about how to understand the Lord. Okay? That's what the next set of slokas are going to be. He is going to glorify the position of the Lord, who is actually the Supreme Person. So how he is the Supreme Person, what sort of Supreme Person he is what Bhishma Dev is going to glorify now. Okay, so 9.16. Nahi yasya karhi chitrajan puman veda vidhisitam yad vignasayat yukta muyanti kavayopihi. Translation. O king, no one can know the plan of the Lord Sri Krishna. Even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered. So here great philosophers are, including Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, all the other Mahajans, great rishis. They are considered to be wonderful devotees of the Lord, completely realized, completely steady state in their consciousness. Such people also, they get bewildered. So there are two aspects to understand about the Lord. Great devotees, the Lord reveals himself to those great devotees. That means they understand the activities of the Lord. They are not ordinary. But however, the intention of the Lord cannot be understood by anyone. There are two words, keywords here that I'm using. One is activities of the Lord, the intention of the Lord. So here, Bhishma Dev is saying, activities of the Lord could be understood only by great devotees who have surrendered. But they can't understand the intention of the Lord. Why the Lord is doing this? No one can understand. Right? So understanding the activities of the Lord is understanding the plan of the Lord. Right? So that's the whole purport here. Translation. O king, no one can know the plan of the Lord Sri Krishna. Even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered. Okay? So can someone read all the three highlights?
Shall I read, Prabhu?
Go ahead. You don't need to ask me.
Bhishma wanted to impress upon
Only
Maharaja.
the highlights. Highlights.
Maharaja Yudhishthir, then Maharaja Yudhishthir, that since time immemorial, no one, including such demigods as Shiva and Brahma, could ascertain the real plan of the Lord. So what can we understand about it? It is useless also to inquire about it. Even the exhaustive philosophical inquiries of the sages cannot ascertain the plan of the Lord. The best policy is simply to abide by the orders of the Lord without argument. The sufferings of the Pandavas were never due to the past deeds. The Lord had to execute a plan of establishing the kingdom of virtue, and therefore his own devotees suffered temporarily in order to establish the conquest of virtue. Bhishma Deva was certainly satisfied by seeing the triumph of virtue, and he was glad to see King Yudhishthira on the throne, although he himself fought against him. Bhishma Deva was a great devotee of the Lord, but he chose to fight against the Pandavas by the will of the Lord because the Lord wanted to show that a fighter like Bhishma cannot win on the wrong side. Hare Krishna.
Look at the messages here. Very phenomenal message. So one has to understand and follow the path of great devotees because the great devotees have understood the plan of the Lord. If we are able to understand the plan of the Lord, then abide to the plan of the Lord rather than going against it. So, for example, this movement like ISKCON. So, Prabhupada is a great devotee. He's a pure devotee. So, Prabhupada has a plan which is in alignment to what the Lord wants. The Prabhupada plan is not his own desire. That's what you have to understand. It is not Prabhupada wanted to make one big institute and then get all people together. No, that was the desire of the Lord, which it is spoken to Prabhupada, and hence he acts as a servant to establish it. So, as devotees or Prabhupada Anugas, the best method is to align to the plan of Prabhupada, follow his instruction, and practice devotional life to make one's life perfect. Look at this green one. The sufferings of the Pandavas are never due to his past deeds. That means here Lord is talking about karma of the Pandavas. Do you think Pandavas suffered because of the karma? No, Lord is making it very clear. It is not because of the past deeds. There's no karma for the Pandavas. So, in order to establish a plan which established Dharma, the Lord used the Pandavas as his instruments. That way, he enacted the whole scene. During that time, Pandavas went through certain difficulties, but Lord ensured that he protected them at all times and made them victorious because he had to clean up the system. So, Yudhishthira Maharaj feeling that, oh, I got this throne by killing so many people, I am not worthy of it, things like that is not true, is what Bhishma Deva is trying to tell him. It is the plan of the Lord, and you played that role. It is not that your desire that you have to kill people. Right? And here, look at, he himself now telling his own example. Oh, Yudhishthira, look at me. I was put on the opposite side to fight against you. Because one is alignment to the plan of the Lord, and secondly, Lord wants to importantly show a message to this world, very important message. What is that message? That even the one you can be a very phenomenal fighter, a person with great opulence, great powers, great strength, anything you can be, but just because you are on the wrong side, you cannot win. Because that is not plan of the Lord. So, generally we tend to fear, oh, that man is very powerful, even though he's doing adharma, he's doing anyaya, we fear a lot. But no, that won't happen because that's not plan of the Lord. So, no one, irrespective of his strength or his position, can be successful by going against the plan of the Lord. That is the point here. Is Sloka clear?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. One question, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, based on our understandings of whatever we have heard from you from the last about the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and things like that, can we take these characters like the Pandavas, Bhishma Dev and all the stuff to be residing in the spiritual world, and Krishna is using their services to perform these leelas, Prabhu?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay.
That is correct. So when Lord wants to come, why Lord comes? Lord speaks in the heart of Brahmaji. Okay, there are lots of problems that are going on in the material world. It is time that you need to invite me. So Brahmaji gets to see one inspiration from his heart, and also he sees the great personalities like Bhudevi, like other wonderful devotees. They are going through sufferings, and then they are requesting the Lord to come. So when the Lord comes, he comes with his entourage. He comes with his weapons. He comes with his people, with his associates, and performs wonderful amorous acts. So those people that Lord engages, it is not that because they are going through any karma or anything like that. It is the plan of the Lord that he makes this happen. Okay, let's go to 17.
Prabhu, one doubt I
Hare
have.
Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
So, intention of the Lord, I understood, Prabhu, that which no one can understand. But activity, can you give me an example for that, Prabhu? Only the pure souls is able to understand what is the activity. So, activity, can you just give me an example like?
So, for example, let's look at the Lord's descent.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Now, when Lord descends, what does the Lord say? Lord says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata. Right? He says, millennium time and again, I come. For what? To establish dharma, clean up system, and then doing it. That's it. That's what he says, correct?
Okay, Prabhu.
Then how the Lord has to come technically? He will just come like one immense force, just clean up the system and then go away. But he does do that? No, he does many other things. Where is the need for him to play pastimes with the gopis?
Okay, Prabhu.
Where is the need for him to demonstrate this 5 rasas while he is here? Then what is that meaning? We can understand that. So these great personalities, they tell this activity of the Lord means this. This activity of the Lord means this.
Okay, Prabhu.
Yeah. But for example, Lord tells that I am unborn, but he is born. Okay. Lord says I am a Swarat, independent, but Lord says I am dependent on devotees. Okay. So Lord says I don't have any desire to do any activities. I am very happy. I'm Atma Rama. Then why is he performing so many activities?
Yes, Prabhu.
So you see, there are many contradictory actions of the Lord. So this is called intentions. So why Lord does like that, we don't know. But after the activity is performed, the Lord reveals the details of the activities in the heart of the devotees, these great devotees, and hence they are able to talk about the activities of the.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, all goes to Srila Prabhupada for the nice purport, Prabhu. But here I would like to have a little clarification on this. The sufferings of the Pandavas were never due to their past deeds. So, meaning all along in Bhagavad Gita and all chapter 2 and chapter 3 and all we have understood. This is the law of karma acts, because the Lord cannot, micro manage things. So they live for their individual karmas, they carry on the previous janma that they have to suffer. Therefore, they get the suitable body to fulfill, whether suffer or enjoy based on their past deeds. But because of the Agnata Sukruti, if they come to the Krishna consciousness, their, the reactions of their past deeds are mitigated. That's what we have understood as of now, Prabhu. But here, the purport, Srila Prabhupada says the suffering of the Pandavas was never due to their past deeds. How to understand in this context?
Prabhu, there are two kinds of devotees. There are two kinds of people, right? One is called devotees, one is called non-devotees. Okay. The devotees are sheltered by Bhagavan themselves. Non-devotees, they are sheltered by Paramatma. Okay. So what does Paramatma do? Paramatma will just be a witness. He'll just be with you. Okay. Whatever you want, whatever you desire, he'll say, okay, sanction. Provided you have that karma phala with you, he'll sanction. Otherwise, he won't sanction. That's all. He doesn't do anything else. That is the status of non-devotees. So life goes on for them. Okay. And they don't even realize that Paramatma is doing it. Okay. So that's the first understanding. But for devotees, it is Bhagavan. In devotees, there are two kinds of devotees. One devotees who are Nitya Baddhas, that means who are conditioned fully, they started to practice devotion service. Okay. For them, Lord sees, okay, now you have realized your mistake. Now that you've started to practice the right way of life, as you surrender, as your level of surrender of yours, I will withdraw. I'll ensure that karma is diluted for you. Okay. So, karma may act, or karma may act in diluted manner, or karma may act when Lord can give you strength, or so many aspects that can happen for devotees. This is one set of devotees. Okay. For them, karma applies, and this is how the Lord enacts on them. The third is devotees who are associates of the Lord, who also descend along with the Lord. Okay. There is no karma for such devotees. It is the plan of the Lord. Why there is no karma for those devotees? Just like the material energy, the kala, the time, the karma, all these things do not act on the Lord. Similarly, this is also do not act on the Lord. It is the Yogamaya potency that directly handles the life of these special personalities. The Mahamaya potency does not come into the picture of the Pandavas. So hence, whatever happened to the Pandavas is not because, oh, my past karma, I had to be born like this, I had to fight like this, I had to suffer like this. That was not written. What is the truth of that? What is the proof for that? Go to 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In 11th chapter, Lord shows Vishwarupa. In Vishwarupa, there is also the section where Lord talks about time, Kala. He says, I am time and Kala. As time progresses, he's showing Bhishma Dev, he's showing, Pandavas and others, not Pandavas, the Kauravas and others, stuck between the teeth. That means he's crushing them to death. Now, when Arjuna saw many of his cousins, the kingsmen, the great personalities, all, dying and going through tribulations and everything he saw in that time, he did not see the Pandavas in the time factor. Anywhere in that 11th chapter, you see Krishna never talked about Pandavas are also were influenced by that time and then they went through that suffering. Kala acted on them. No. So Kala never acted on the Pandavas. It is the Lord's personal energy that acted on the Pandavas. So hence, Prabhupada writes this purport that there was no karma for the Pandavas.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay. So let's move to the next sloka, 9.17. Tasmat idam daiva tantram vyavasya bharatarshaba tasyanu nata natapahi praja prabho. Translation. O best among the descendants of Bharata, Yudhishthira, I maintain therefore that all this is within the plan of the Lord. What is the plan of the Lord? Everything that you saw all your life, including this great war which concluded, and including the fact that you're coming to me, is the plan of the Lord. Accepting the inconceivable plan. So it's better, it's called inconceivable. That means it's beyond perception. You cannot even imagine what the plan of the Lord is. So whatever the plan of the Lord is, just accept it and follow it. So this is an instruction that Bhishma Dev is giving to Yudhishthira, but it also applies to us. So we also have to understand, oh, whatever is happening in my life is plan of the Lord. Let me not desire, but let me be an instrument in the plan of the Lord. Let me just serve. Whatever is instructions of the Guru, take that as my life. It is the instruction of the Guru is nothing but instructions of the Lord. Take that as my life. Lead that. Do not deviate from the plan of the Lord. That is perfection of devotion. So you are now the appointed administrative head. Who is appointed administrative head? Yudhishthira. And my Lord, you should now take care of those subjects who are now rendered helpless. So he is basically telling that you should follow dharmic principles and become a great king. That is important for you. Right? So, can someone read the LOs here?
Lord teaches the sincere devotee always from within.
Within.
Whenever, therefore, a show is made to teach the devotee, as in the case of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, it is for teachings the less intelligent men. A devotee's duty, therefore, is to ungrudgingly accept tribulations from the Lord as a benediction.
Pause there. This is the key word. A devotee's duty, therefore, is to ungrudgingly accept. Ungrudging means what? No whining, no complaining, no this one. No grudging, nothing. Accept tribulations, material difficulties from the Lord as benediction, as the boon of the Lord. Whatever has happened in our life, whether it is happiness or suffering, be it health, be it wealth, be it name, fame, or activities, the job that I perform, the business that I do, the family that I'm into, my wife, my children, everything is a mercy of the Lord. So we should accept it with happiness and not with grudge or not with distress. Right? There's a great saying in English called beggars cannot be choosers. We are beggars, we cannot be choosers. So we better accept it. Okay, now read the next part, Prabhu.
Yeah. The poor subjects were without protection due to the battle of Kurukshetra, and they were awaiting the assumption of power by Maharaja Yudhishthira. A pure devotee of the Lord accepts tribulations as favors from the Lord. Since the Lord is absolute, there is no mundane difference between the two. Hare Krishna.
Not at all. Okay, so keywords here. One is accept the plan of the Lord, and whatever tribulations are given, you have to understand it as favors of the Lord. And most importantly, where is this coming from? The Lord is absolute. What is here absolute refers to? Absolute refers to that there is no one supreme to the Lord. It is not that the Lord is also working under someone else. No, there's nothing higher than the Lord. And when the Lord has made, that is the most perfect. It cannot change. The rules cannot change under any circumstances. The rules do not have an exception. That is the point here. That is the meaning of the word absolute. So when an absolute terminology is used, you have to accept that instruction as it is. No adjustment, no dodging. And that is the point here. So hence he says, there's no mundane difference between the two. Right? So this is the key words that you have to understand. In our life also, we have to make those changes, right? Some of us may be powerful, some of us may be weak. That is the plan of the Lord. Why? We don't know. Lord wants his devotees, this particular devotee in this manner, that particular devotee in that manner. If that is not true, we would have been repositioned in a different manner. Now, Prabhupada says, generally materialist, they get dissatisfied with whatever they are in. So they try to keep changing things in order to get happiness or satisfaction. But just because one changes his job, changes his residence, changes his nature of work or activities, things like that, location, you think his difficulties have gone away? No. If someone is suffering in a hospital, just by changing that hospital or changing doctor, it does not mean his sufferings are going to go away and become a happy and a Superman. No. That is the point to conclude. Is this point clear?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
So this is the message that Bhishma Dev is giving to Yudhishthira. Okay. Now let's go to the 18th sloka. 18th sloka onwards, you will see Bhishma establishing or offering prayers that describes the glories of the Supreme Personality of God. So now, till now he said, oh Yudhishthira, don't ponder about what you are now thinking in your heart. It is the plan of the Lord. You better accept it. Now I'll tell you that absolute that I talked about, who he is and what he is. And out of ignorance, you were just moving around with him like your own cousin and your friend or whatever it may be. But it is not so. So I will tell you who that person is. Now he's going to describe about that Lord who's absolute. Okay. So he's starting from sloka number 18. Yesha vai Bhagavan Shakshad Adyo Narayana Puman Mohayan Mayaya Lokam Gudascharati Vrishnishu. Okay. Now look at this last line. Gudascharati Vrishnishu. Vrishnishu means it tells that there is a person from the Vrishni dynasty who is just roaming around along with us. He is not an ordinary person. Whom he is? He is Yesha vai Bhagavan Shakshat. He is Shakshat, that Bhagavan, that Supreme Personality of Godhead. He says Sakshat. There is no doubt, original, perfect. And who he is, that Sakshat Bhagavan, is Adya Narayana Puman. Who is Adya Narayana? He is the source of creation of Narayana. From him Narayana manifested. From Narayana only Mahavishnu. From Mahavishnu only all this Garbhodaksha, Nishirodaksha, all these Vishnus, and then Paramatma, all other Brahma, Shiva, all manifestation happens. But this person who's from the Vishnu, who's appeared in the Vrishni dynasty and then roaming around like ordinary person, is that Bhagavan, Narayana Bhagavan. He is the Shakshat Bhagavan. He is Adyo Narayana. He is even Adyo too. Adyo means primeval, first. From him comes even Narayana. That person, Mohayan Mayaya Lokam, by his incompetent potency in this lokam, in this world, he's just roaming around. For what? To accomplish a great purpose that he's come with. That is the meaning of this sloka. Such a wonderful sloka. You should all mug up this sloka. We'll try to recite this sloka. Yesha vai Bhagavan Shakshad
Yesha vai
Yesha vai Bhagavan
Bhagavan
Sakshat
Sakshat
Adyo Narayana Puman.
Adyo Narayana Puman.
Puman here refers to, he is the supreme enjoyer. Puman refers to supreme enjoyer. Okay. Then Mohayan Mayaya Lokam.
Mohayan Mayaya Lokam.
Gudascharati Vrishnishu.
Gudascharati Vishnu.
Vrishnishu.
Vishnushu.
Translation. This Sri Krishna is no other than the inconceivable. Inconceivable means beyond imagination. Original personality of God. What is this? You can't attend this class in the morning. So much of disturbance. Okay. The original personality of Godhead. He is the first Narayana, the supreme enjoyer. But he is moving amongst the descendants of Krishna, just like one of us. And he is bewildering us with his self-created energy. Right? So Krishna bewildered. You take the Mahabharata war, how many scenes of bewilderment Krishna created? Can anyone imagine? Can you imagine that Krishna created a solar eclipse in order to fulfill Arjuna's desire to kill the person who killed his son? So that is how his mystic powers were. And he just bewildered the whole of us. And still, all the people, crores, 100 crore people were on the battlefield, both sides. No, they were bewildered and they didn't even realize it is because of the cause of Krishna. That is the beauty of the God. That's what he says. And yet, he's moving around like an ordinary person amongst us. Oh, Duryodhana, Yudhishthira, you thought he is just your cousin. So, you sat with him and ate. You fought with him. And while walking, you put your hands on his shoulder and went around with him. You made fun of him. You made jokes around with him because you thought he is your cousin. But he is not. Look at his humility. Look at his simplicity. Even though he is that great original supreme personality of Godhead, with this inconceivable energy, he was able to move around in this entire place, just like an ordinary human being. So that is the whole thing he's talking about. So this entire purport is so brilliant, actually. Prabhupada really talks about the greatness of this Lord. Right? You all should read this purport very, very slowly. About he being in Vaikuntha, about he being present here, why he comes here, for what purpose. All is bewildered. Everything he very brilliantly writes. Read this purport, which you will understand the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the first sloka, right, that 18th sloka that he is starting to recite, who is this absolute? Because in the previous sloka he said, he used the word absolute. So now he's explaining who's this absolute. He is giving his first understanding of that Krishna and what is he in this sloka. Okay, so now we talked about two words, activities and intent, right? And how great Mahajans can understand that activity. So that he is going to explain in sloka number 19. Okay. Asyan bhavam bhagavan veda guhyattamam shivaha devarshir narada shakshat bhagavan kapilo nripa. Translation. O King, Lord Shiva, Narada, the sage amongst the demigods. Kapila, can I close this door?
Yeah.
No. Kapila, the incarnation of Godhead, all known very confidentially about his glories through direct contact. So what does here direct contact means? It means that the Lord reveals about his plans, his activities, only to his pure devotees. People who are not devotees of the Lord cannot understand the plan of the Lord. So now, what was our original state? We were non-devotees in the original state. Through some causeless mercy, we came to the practice of devotion. So now we have to follow the rules of great devotees. Who's treading this path? Mahajanas, or great authorities. And we have to follow their path, whatever their teachings are. Right? So, for example, you all may be aspiring a particular spiritual master, or you may have a spiritual master already. So, the spiritual master is just revealing the plan of the Lord. Shakshat Daritvena Shamasta Shastra. Right? He is revealing the plan of the Lord. Now, what are you supposed to do? You have to now understand the Vani and Vapu of that person. Serve him nicely so that the plan is understood by us very nicely. Otherwise, we may misunderstand the plan. Oh, this is what the Lord wants. Oh, this is what Lord Gauranga wants. This is what Lord Nityananda wants. The pastimes of Gauranga, Nityananda, the pastimes of Krishna were all there, existing. But who made it a reality for us? It is Srila Prabhupada. If he had not started this movement and written these purports and written all these activities, so many books, spreading the Sankirtan movement, doing all these things, how we will even understand the glories of Lord Chaitanya? We will not. That would have become, Gugyatam would have become secretive. So, these wonderful great authorities who understood, who had direct contact with the Lord, they understood the plan of the Lord and they revealed it to us. So, what are we supposed to do? We have to serve them. How do you serve a great Mahajan? You serve them through their instructions. If Bhishma Dev is giving a particular instruction here, if you're able to follow that instruction, that means you've served Bhishma Dev. That's the meaning. If your guru has given an instruction, okay, do this, and we're able to do that, that means you served your Guru Maharaj through his instruction. That is the point here. So, these great devotees are in direct contact with the Lord. So, what we do? By following their footsteps, we perfect our life. That is the whole thing. And he says, he uses the word anubhava. Okay. Now, here, look at this word, this anubhava here. Very, very beautifully explains Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. Okay. Let me highlight and read this. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, one of the greatest acharya in the modern age, explains that anubhava, or glory of the Lord, is first appreciated by the devotee in ecstasy, manifesting the symptoms of perspiring, trembling, weeping, bodily eruptions, right? Which are further enhanced by steady understanding of the glories of the Lord. So, these devotees who experienced all these things are clearly in direct contact with the Lord. Now, what is the Lord to do then? The Lord reveals the details of his activities to them. And by following the instructions of such great personalities, we also get aligned to the plan of the Lord, and that makes us life perfect. So, it is important to read these purports, these books on a regular basis, hear the instructions from acharyas, and perfect our life. Okay? So, that's about sloka number 19. Let's look at sloka number 20. Here, Bhishma Dev is telling Yudhishthira, don't think that he's an ordinary person. He is something special. So that's the sloka he's giving here. Okay. Yam manyase matuleyam priyam mitram suhritamam akaros sachivam dutam sauhridat athasaratim. Translation. O king, that personality whom out of ignorance only you thought to be your maternal cousin, right? Just like how you were born to your mother, you thought Krishna was born to his mother as an ordinary person. That is not the problem of the Lord, it's problem of your ignorance. You are a very dear friend, well-wisher, counselor, messenger, benefactor, etc. Is that same personality Godhead Krishna? Is none other than Krishna. Who is this Krishna? He is that Supreme Personality Godhead whom we thought is an ordinary person that I can easily be very friendly, very ordinary, very callous in a matter of dealing with them. So like that we dealt, and that person is that Supreme Lord Krishna. So he is clarifying, it is your ignorance that you didn't understand him. But he is so and so. And who is he? He's standing there. Pitambar dress, Shama color, who's got a peacock on his head, peacock feather on his head, and having a flute in his hand, the Venu, is that same person, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhishma Dev is clarifying to Yudhishthira, first understand who he is. Okay? Now, in the 21st sloka onwards, Bhishma Dev is going to give detailed glory of the Lord. We will see what the glory is. Okay? 21st. Sharvatmanas samadrisho hi adyavashya ahankritah tat kritam mati vaishamyam niravadasya na kvachit. So kvachit is a very key word here. We will see the keyword kvachit here. Okay, translation. Even though he is the absolute personality of Godhead, being the absolute person of Godhead, he is present in everyone's heart as Paramatma. He is equally kind to everyone and he is free from the false ego of differentiation. Therefore, whatever he does is free from material inability. He is equibalanced. Samoham sarvabhuteshu. So, the Lord is very clear. He is dear to all. He is equal to all. He gives equal opportunity to everyone. But the devotees can understand, but non-devotees, why they get bewildered? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 7.25, what does he say? Naham prakasha sarvasya yoga maya samavritah, he says. Now, what is Naham prakasha sarvasya? That means the illusion energy is spread and it covers the unintelligence. Right? So, people misunderstand about the real position of the Lord. Okay, so that's one of the way to understand why people are not able to understand the real position of the Lord. So there are many things that we understood from this sloka. So one is he is Sarvatmanaha. Sarvatmanaha refers to he is Paramatma, he is present in everyone's heart. That means he understands and reveals and the benefactor of everyone by sitting in the heart. Okay. Then he is Samadrisha. Samadrisha means he is equal, he is equipoised. He gives equal opportunity to everyone. The best example we can tell is Vibhishana in Ramayana. In Ramayana, Vibhishana, what happened? Vibhishana was a demon. Right? He is a brother of Ravana. Now, when Vibhishana came and surrendered to Lord Ram did not differentiate. Lord Ram did not bring his ego. Oh, how dare you come? You are like this, you are like that. No. He still accepted him as a pure devotee and gave him equal opportunity. And when the Lord completed the war, he gave back the kingdom to Vibhishana because he wanted a devotee to rule the world so that will become a prosperous nation. Prosperous means the king's men are all taken care of. Right? See? Samadrisha. Then here, Adhyavasya means Lord is absolute. We talked about Lord being absolute a lot here in the previous sloka also. But Lord is Adhyavasya means he is absolute. Okay. Then he is Ahankritaha means he does not get disturbed. I mean, he is not influenced by any material energy. We say, no, Lord is Nirahara, Nirvishesha, Nirvikar. So these means Lord is not dependent on the material energy. Lord, in fact, from his body, the shadow energy of the Lord manifests, and that is material energy. So material energy is subservient. Mahamaya is subservient to the Lord. The personified representation of material energy is Durga Devi, right? Who is wife of Lord Shiva. So she is always offering her prayers to Lord Krishna. Right? So here's Ahankritaha means he is not, he is free from material energy and material false ego. Right? That is Ahankritaha. Ahan means ego, false ego. Right? So like that you can understand. Then what else is there? Then we have to understand. Okay, then Tatkritam. Look at this Tatkritam. Is done by everything is done by him. He is Sarva Karana Karana. Right? So people think that they are the doers, but they are not the doers. Their desire is fulfilled by the Lord. So the Lord is the real doer. Okay. So now let's go to sloka number 22. Tatapi ekanta bhakteshu pashyabhupan kampitam yanmesham tajata shakshad Krishno darshanam agataha. Yet, despite he being equally kind to everyone, he has graciously come before me while I'm ending my life, and for I'm his unflinching servitor. So now here you can understand that the position of a devotee, right? See, this position of a devotee is the Lord never lets him down. This is the position of a devotee. The Lord ensures that a devotee is coming out of the conditioned state, the bondage state, and that's how the Lord is a benefactor, right? So now the time has come for Bhishma Dev to leave his body, and hence Lord is personally present there to receive him in the spiritual world, right? And that you can understand that he is Suhritam, right? Where have we seen this word Suhritam coming again? In this sloka, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasham, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, Suhritam Sharva Bhutanam. So Lord is the benefactor for all the living entities, right? So here, Bhishmadev is offering his prayers that even though Lord says, okay, I'm equal to everyone, but for me, specifically, he came before I'm ending my life is because of his devotion. Unless Bhishmadev was considered to be a great devotee of the Lord, why would the Lord come there personally? That is the point here. Bhishmadev is offering his prayers and he's thanking his Lord. He's expressing unlimited gratitude for his presence while he's ending his life. Can someone read these purports, these highlights?
Hare Krishna. A living entity is so made by the will of the Almighty that he is most happy when placing himself in a condition of absolute dependence. The opposite tendency is the cause of fall down. The living entity has this tendency of falling down by dint of misidentifying himself as fully independent to lord it over the material world. The root cause of all troubles is there in false egotism. One must draw towards the Lord in all circumstances.
Pause here, Mataji. See here, the key. Moment we think we are independent, we are not governed, I can do whatever I want. I am at my own will. Moment that tinge of that attitude comes, look at it. Look at what happens to the conditioned soul. He falls down all the way from the spiritual planets into the material planets. See, that is a very dangerous thing. So that's why we are bound by the instructions of the Guru. We are bound by the instructions of the Shastras. We are bound by the rules of this material world. Moment we say, I'm out of this rule, I'm beyond this, then we get ourselves into trouble. Once we develop this attitude of independence, the fall down happens. The opposite is to develop dependence of the Lord. For anything and everything, depend on the Lord. It can be the smallest thing. For example, let's say you're cooking your favorite meal today. When I use the word favorite, it means that you know how to cook that meal because you've done it so many times, right? You can just take the ingredients, just take the vessels, and you can start cooking. That's how you are aware of that subject. But devotion means, oh Lord, even though I know how to make this particular favorite dish so nicely, I still beg prayers to you that by your causeless mercy, ensure that I'm preparing it nicely and offering it to you. So that is dependence. Dependence on the Lord at every point in time is a demonstration of devotional service. That's the point here Prabhupada is talking. Mataji, continue reading.
The appearance of Lord Krishna at the deathbed of Bhishmaji is due to his being an unflinching devotee of the Lord. Arjuna had some bodily relation with Krishna because the Lord happened to be his maternal cousin. But Bhishma had no such bodily relation. Therefore, the cause of attraction was due to the intimate relation of the soul.
Pause here. See, look at, he's clarifying more. So Pandava, you are at least were a relative to Krishna, right? And because you are of around the same age, you moved around and you have that intimacy, you have that closeness. Oh, my cousin, oh, my brother, like that you have closeness. But what about me? No relation, nothing. My own relation is devotion to the Lord. Because I am practicing my devotion to the Lord, I am developing that intimacy. So for all living entities throughout the entire world, by practicing devotion, they became intimate. Not because it does not mean your relationship will help you. So he is clarifying that. Because one may argue that, Arjuna was a cousin of Krishna, so he spoke Gita. No, no, no. Devotion is the reason that Krishna spoke to Arjuna, not because he was cousin. That's the point Bhishmadev is clarifying. Yes, Madhya, read.
The best way to establish our relation in transcendental sweetness is to approach him through his recognized devotees. One should not try to establish the relation directly. There must be a medium which is transparent and competent to lead us to the right path. Hare Krishna.
Hari. So now Bhishmadev is concluding that one should approach an authority, and through the authority he has to practice devotion. The moment he practices devotion out of independence, what happens to the authority? The authority will withdraw his shelter on that particular devotee, and the devotee becomes independent. And it is that independence that causes the fall down one into this material world, and that is the problem. Okay, so now there are two responsibilities. The authority has a responsibility to behave in the right manner, and the devotee has a responsibility to behave in the right manner, and together they will succeed in this devotion service. So all our relationship is through the Guru, right? Guru Ashtakam, what do we sing? For everything we say, Vande Guru's Charanaramindam, right? So we offer our direct obeisances to the lotus feet of Guru, because by his causeless mercy, that we are able to get this particular service to serve the Lord, directly or indirectly. So that is the key here, right? This statement establishes that one should go through a system. If one says, no, I don't want to be in ISKCON because ISKCON certain problems are there, then he's choosing his independence, and that is a grave mistake that he's making. No, he can go to another organization which practices bhakti in the right manner. That is fine still, but he cannot be independent. Okay? So far good?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Is the message getting too stronger?
Yes.
No, Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Okay. So now let us stop here and take questions, because it is 7:08. Let us take questions. And whatever questions you have, let me try my level best to answer.
Prabhu, all these things are preamble to his Bhishma Stuti, Allah, Prabhu. Yes.
He has started. 18th sloka onwards, it has started.
I think it is from 32, Allah, Prabhu. 32 to 42 is Bhishma Stuti.
No, in 18th sloka only he is glorifying personality of Godhead. No.
He's glorifying.
Yeah. So Stuti has started now already.
Okay.
Prabhu, I don't have any questions, but I want to say a few sentences, Prabhu. Today's class, Prabhu, from Shloka 17, gave very
16.
important gave very important points, Prabhu. It is a cream of our purpose of living. Also, it is giving the strength to overcome the difficulties, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Correct. Okay, good.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, 1 second, pause here.
Yes, Prabhu.
While everyone is there, I want to repeat this. Please, all of you, read all the purports that are being discussed, and every purport must be introspected, slowly read, and understood correctly. Okay? Purports are Prabhupada's Mahaprasadam. It cannot be ignored. In the next class, we are going to take a poll again to see how many of you are reading purports. I hope, by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, that there will be 100% response that says they have read the purports.
Yes,
Okay.
we will do so.
Please make it as a habit in your life. Thank you so much.
Hari Bol.
Yes, Balaji Prabhu, please speak.
Prabhuji, sometimes I get carried away, or I cannot understand here, Prabhu. The Lord Krishna appearing of Lord Krishna at the deathbed of Bhishmaji. No doubt it shows us that he is an unflinching devotee of the Lord. And even for the Pandavas, the time or the karmas have not affected them. And just it was a plan of the Lord. Because of this, they went under tribulations, all kinds of difficulties, distress, and all that. But on the contrary, if we try to go through Hiranyakashipu or even Duryodhana, Hiranyakashipu, it was also a plan of the Lord. But in case of Duryodhana, throughout his life he enjoyed, except at the time of deathbed, because no one was there, and even he was very, no doubt he is not neither a devotee nor he was a nor he was a pious person. But how to understand this, Prabhu? They have enjoyed all the life, and hardly a very few days in Kurukshetra war they have suffered. But is this also a plan of the Lord, Prabhu? But
So
for Pandavas, they have suffered.
yeah,
But
yeah,
why Duryodhana has not suffered, Prabhu?
yeah. So what is the understanding is Duryodhana represents other personalities of this world. Okay.
Yes, Prabhu.
Other personalities, they assume thrones, they assume position, they assume things, and then they perform difficult situations for others. They follow other practices and do all those things. Okay.
Yes.
Now, whenever such people are performing in an improper manner, they must be cleansed of the system.
Yes,
Okay.
Prabhu.
So Lord comes and himself comes to clean the system. Now let's take an example. Let's say you get a thorn into your body, into your leg or hand or somewhere. It just enter your body. Okay. Now entering thorn is very painful, correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
When this thorn enters the body, it's very painful. So much of pain. But how much of time that pain will be there as far as the thorn is present in your body?
Yes.
Right? Not only pain, it may infect more, it can cause pus, and it keeps on increasing, and the entire area may get damaged, and it goes to the level of even amputation. That level,
Yes.
thorn. Okay. But even at the time of removal of thorn is also very painful.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So now idea is there now. Thorn has to be removed. But even removal of thorn is also painful. But after removal of thorn, there is happiness. Correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
But someone has to take the role of removal of that thorn, and the Lord uses great personalities to remove that thorn. So during that time, people will face difficulties and pain and things like that. And finally, after that, there is going to be Ramaraj. Right? So many people who are given power, independence, and authority, they misuse and they try to control this world, and hence it causes the pain.
Yes,
Just
Prabhu.
like a thorn in our body.
Yes, Prabhu.
So they cannot be equal to the Pandavas, or they cannot be equal to this one. They are independent living entities who are misusing whatever has been given as energy about this material world.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. How
Yes.
long they will use? As far as their bank balance is present, they will use, and at the end of that exhaustion bank balance, they will crumple. That means the next life of Duryodhana will be very bad. Right? So Prabhupada gives that famous story, right? He gives that benediction to three kinds of people. One is to a prince, and one is to a devotee, another one is to a, who are the three kinds of people? Devotee, prince, and sadhu, devotee, and butcher. Correct? So to a king, what does he say? He says, never die. It says don't die at all, because you enjoyed so much of your position, sense gratification, and did lot of nonsense things, that if you die, your life will be hellish. That means you'll suffer like anything. So don't die at all. He calls him, you become Chiranjeevi. Don't die at all. Okay. Then for a butcher, he says, whether you die or whether you live here, life is going to be very hellish for you. Why? Because here also you are suffering. After death also you are suffering because of your, unacceptable deeds. So he says, don't die, don't live. Then for sadhu, what does he say? It doesn't matter whether you die or not. Because whether you live here, you will be happy because you're doing so much of austerities. You're always thinking of Krishna. You're always under the benediction of the Lord. So you'll be happy in the material world. For you, in the next life is spiritual world. There also you'll be very happy. Because you're serving the Lord, who's all blissful, who's Satchidananda. So, you see, this is how we have to understand the position of every individuality.
Very, very. Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice explanation, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you. Hare
Really, I was satisfied. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams. So
Yes, ma'am.
Duryodhana's part is also the plan of the Lord Prabhu.
No, that's what I explained, no. For the question of Balaji Prabhu, that's what I explained.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank
you. Okay. One last question, if there is any. Okay. No problem. Have a wonderful day. Live in Krishna consciousness. Krishna says, Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhavam is very, very important. Who always remembers and stays in my consciousness. Then he says, while living, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam, and while dying, he says, Antakalecha Mameva. That means you will come to me, remember, good. Right? So, always stay in Krishna conscious and live a blissful, happy life. Grandaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Vancha Parubhya Kripa Sindhavyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Vaishnava Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Om Tat Sat. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Okay, so we'll end the class here. Thank you. Hare Krishna.